Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Arai video about the special limited edition 2020 Isle of Man TT designs. It's very strange times. Actually, we should not be behind our desks today, but instead we should be at the Isle of Man with a big team of Arai technicians servicing many helmets at our service units, putting more than 15,000 tear-offs on racers' helmets, and still enjoying every minute of it. It is, of course, a very understandable decision that the TT could not take place this year, but nevertheless, it was a very disappointing news that the TT could not be held. So we have to wait for next year to enjoy the event again. In these strange times, also new ideas are born, and that gives us this opportunity to give you some background information about the TT helmets that we have made over the past years. And since the very first special TT helmet that we have made, we asked no one less than Aldo Drudi from Italy to make this special design for us. So Aldo is joining us today. Good afternoon, Aldo. Good to see you again.
Ciao to everyone. Ciao, Ingmar.
Congratulations again with this great design that you have made for us this year. Although we know each other for a very long time, you have designed many helmets for Arai, and you have done a lot of things in the motorcycle industry, even things outside the motorcycle industry. But maybe it's good if you could briefly introduce yourself to all the viewers, Aldo.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, Ingmar. And yes, I'm involved in the world of motorcycle from a long time. Fortunately, it's a long time. From the beginning of the 80s, and start working when I was around 22 years old. And one of the best opportunity I had a few years later was to start working with Arai. You know, Arai was the brand coming on the market with a really nice shell, with high technology, Japanese brand. So for us was a big news. And I had the big honor to start working through some Italian riders, as Cadalora, for example, start working with Arai.
More than 30 years ago that we started to offer a helmet service to the racers at the Isle of Man, and we haven't missed any TT since then. So we have a very strong connection with the Isle of Man. It was in 2007 for the 100 years anniversary of the TT that we thought of making a special tribute helmet with a TT design, and that was so much appreciated by many people that we decided a few years later to make a kind of annual event of it by offering a limited edition of the TT designs of a TT design every year.
I moved to the TT collection, and here we are with Stefano, the guy working with us by computer to develop the projects, and that is the helmet that we create for this year. Unfortunately, no race, but we have the helmet, the special helmet. I hope the people likes it, because this year Ingmar is a classic approach. The graphical items are the same of the beginning, because I think it's interesting to work with the same graphical items as the three legs. And there is a nice story about that. The shape of the circuit that you can see, dark black on dark gray, and this the pattern of the flag, the checkered flag, made in a dark way. The double T of the TT for sure, and we use the gold. The gold is a classic color. Black, gold, and red is the perfect color combination. Usually, we create the next helmet after the feedback that we have of the previous one as you can see, that was the helmet of last year. And the flashy yellow was characteristic for that helmet. So this year we moved to a classic combination of color, that is this one. Yeah, I don't have, Ingmar, I don't have the prototype. Please send me one.
I will do. This is actually the first sample that you painted for us for this year. It's maybe interesting to explain that usually we start in September, around September, October, to get some ideas together for a new design for the next year. So then we speak with Aldo Drudi, we speak with the Isle of Man organization, and at the very end, when everybody is happy with the design that we have in mind, Aldo starts to paint one. These are going to Arai in Japan, where the helmets are being produced, in order to have them in time for by the end of May, beginning of June, when the event is starting. This year it was a bit different because we already started to produce the helmets, and then the cancellation of this year's event was announced by the Isle of Man, unfortunately. But we had already these helmets shipped to Japan. Our first reaction was to postpone the introduction of this year's TT special and to hold it for next year. But we received so many requests from fans of the Isle of Man TT, requests to release the limited edition anyway this year. So it's probably one of the most special editions, the TT design of the TT that never happened. But yeah, here is the first one that you actually painted for us, Aldo.
To see the prototype, Ingmar, is a big surprise because was not under my eyes from a long time. So looking at the helmet one more time, we are proud about the result, and I think can be appreciated.
Well, it's amazing, Aldo, that you always with the same components, the same elements, you manage to create so many different designs. But through the whole collection, you always find these three legs. You find the TT.
Yes, Ingmar, but trust me, we made a good job. Yes, but thank you very much. But the graphical items are really, really strong. And when there is something coming from the history, as for example the three legs, you cannot make mistake. If I make big mistake, you have to change the designer.
So what do you see, Aldo, for the future? Do you still have a lot of ideas to come up with new designs with these fixed elements in the designs? How do you get the new ideas, new creative ideas for a future design?
Yes, as I said, it would be interesting to know if the people likes that helmet, but I'm sure that will be appreciated from the people, from the guys riding motorcycle, because it's a classic and impossible to make a mistake. The balance of the color is nice, dark in a way, but the touch of gold that is a rich color makes this helmet unique. So depending next year, if we have some new element to add to the classic items, graphical items to add on the helmet, or if there is a special color that we can use, and we will create the new proposal, but in the respect of the classic graphic approach, because we have enough, Ingmar, we have enough. Every year is fantastic because it's in a way easy to create a consistent design. Because as I said, the items are perfect. There is no other circuit having this kind of arguments to be displayed on the helmets.
And you have always made them on the RX-7V. That was also our wish to bring this special design on the helmet, that on the model that most of the racers are using, the RX-7V. You have always said that you like to make graphics on an RX-7V because of the shape.
Correct, Ingmar, correct. Because we have a relation with a lot of riders. Few of those riders, they don't use Arai helmet. But every time we work on Arai helmet, everything is coming more easy. Because the natural shape, that is one strong argument about safety. The natural shape of the helmet is perfect also for me, because the design work and turn better on the shape of one Arai helmets. Every time we put one design on one RX-7 shell, looks fantastic, because I really love it. It's not because I'm working with Arai, and you know that all my best ideas are going on our helmets production, and the relation with Japan and with you is fantastic, and it's creative. It's a creative relationship. But to be honest, every time we put a design on a Arai shell, looks better. That's because it's a natural shape designed by the safety and the wind. I really appreciate the approach that Mr. Arai had for also for the next product. I saw many other helmets dedicated to different motorcycles, not only pure racing. And it's fantastic to see that the shell looks natural. That is the really argument.
Yeah, and there is a nice, well, very fascinating situation there, because the Arai family owns the Arai company, and Mr. Mitch Arai and his son Akihito Arai, they have one very clear goal for themselves, and that is to make the helmets as good as possible, to increase the level of protection as much as we can. And that is also the reason why the helmet has such a round shape, without strange squares or strange indents or something in the helmet, but to make it as round as possible. And the reason is for that is that every helmet, of course, when it has to do its job, it has to absorb a certain impact. The energy that gets into the helmet. The helmet itself can only absorb so much energy. There is a limit to any helmet. And by making this shape and by having this construction of the shell itself, it works to glance off certain impact, certain energy. And when energy doesn't get into the helmet, the helmet doesn't need to absorb that amount of energy. And that is also why many of the races are relying on Arai, because they know what can happen at the track. They know what can happen at the races, especially at the Isle of Man. So they want to make sure they have the best protection that is possible. And that is why nowadays you see something like 70% of the races using Arai. Of course, some of them get the helmets from us, but there's many of them who just buy the helmets. And these helmets that these guys are using is exactly the same helmet that we have available for the consumer. So this one, also with the TT design, is exactly the same helmet as many races are using nowadays.
Yes,
so the shape is for design work, but has a real function of improving the level of protection as much as possible.
You know, Ingmar, I try to explain in my bad English, but from my point of view, designer point of view, in Italy, you know that the design is so important. But I think the right approach to create something new have to start from something strong. Helmets have to protect in the best way. Arai is the best helmet I manage. And when you do your job on something that have this strong characteristic, this you know, we are talking about something that can protect your head. Not only your head, because you remember many times we talk about dreams. The helmets protect your head, but also your dreams. The dream to win a race, the dream to ride motorcycle in another country in a fantastic shape or in a fantastic land. Is a kind of dream of freedom. Is important. So to put color on a shape that first of all is the best shape to protect your head, and is the best shape in terms of design is fantastic. I think the future have for products as helmets have to start from that base. For me, it's one honor to work on a product as one Arai shell. Is the best. Honestly, is the best.
Well, let's hope that next year we can enjoy another TT event again.
I want to come with you to see the race. I want to be there. I never been there before. Promise me.
I will absolutely promise you. Yeah. No, it will be nice. It is really a fantastic experience to be there. The atmosphere is great. The people really love racing, love motorcycling. So not only the races, but also the total environment is fantastic at the Isle of Man. So absolutely interesting to go there. So join us next year, Aldo.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So we have this this replica of the TT that never happened is available. Is from the beginning of June available at the selection of Arai dealers throughout Europe. Aldo, I would like to thank you very much for giving us some background information about the designs that you have made for us for the TT in the last 12 years. If you are interested to know more about the helmet, some more detailed information, or about what I explained about this glancing off, this way of Arai to make the very best helmet as possible. We have made a video of that. It's called The Values of Arai, and it's can be found also at the Isle of Man website on the Arai page over there. You can also find some video about what's called Through the Visor, which we made 2 years ago. Fantastic interviews with racers, with people behind the scenes as well. So absolutely worthwhile to have a look there on the Isle of Man TT website. So thank you very much, Aldo, for joining us today. And I hope that we can see many people next year again at the Isle of Man.
Perfect. And thank you very much, Ingmar. Thank you very much, Arai. And thank you very much for the people loving motorcycle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right.
See you. Ciao.
Keep safe. Okay. Bye-bye.